Before you were born, you built the character that you were playing in this life game. You chose your body, your mind, your personality, and your talents and gifts that you would use in this adventure, all with a specific purpose and reason behind it. Okay, well, welcome to the Reincarnation Is a Game series where we look at the mechanics of how this whole life thing works so that we can learn how to play this game of life more effectively. And today, it's gonna be a juicy one because we are going to be talking about everybody's favorite subject, ourselves. Yes, we are going to look at your specific character build and why you created the character that you are. And we're going to be digging into something that might blow your mind. Like literally, it's about the mind. There are more people now being born with neurodivergence characteristics like ADHD and autism and dyslexia, etc. I'm gonna dig into that as we explore that area of our build and why I don't think it's a problem, but rather I think it's we are changing how the game is played. So stick with me. This is gonna be a fun one. So before you were born, you worked with your spirit guide to plan out your life. And as part of that, you set up your unique character. Now, as a reminder, we're talking about you. There's you, the character, the person that you're playing, just like I'm playing the character of Jillian right now. This is the character, this is the avatar. When we talk about the player, then we're talking about the soul. The soul is the one really playing the game, and we're the little character that's running through the hillsides, accomplishing missions and collecting our gold. And as our soul built our character, we really had 4 things in mind that we were designing the character around. So 1, you have a quest. This was the thing that you really looked at when you were planning what you were going to be getting up to in this life. One of the previous videos in the Reincarnation Is a Game series is all about a particular lesson or lessons that you wanted to accomplish. So that's number 1. You had a quest you wanted to accomplish. You also had, number 2, a purpose that you wanted to get up to, which we will be covering in a future video. So of course, subscribe to get notified when that one comes out. This is something that you wanted to do in this life. Beyond just learning things, there is something that you wanted to give or share. Then you're also looking at any baggage from previous lives. So we're talking about karma that you're wanting to balance and wounds you want to heal. So your character is designed to help you with all of these things. Now, I am working on creating a workbook that's going to go along with this Reincarnation Is a Game series. And there's going to be a really fun section on the character where you're going to have like an RPG sort of a sheet where you're able to fill out who you are as a character. And there's going to be all sorts of different worksheets and activities to help you figure out. So if that is something that you are interested in, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to find a link down below to get more information and to get on the list for when it comes out, or to buy it if it already is out if you're in the future. All right, well, let's dig into the first thing that you're going to be looking at, and that is your body. We are, after all, in physical form, so we've got to build out the physical form. Now, of course, some of this is already going to be decided when you selected your family. So you're going to have traits available to you to select from. You have genetic predispositions that you will be utilizing as the clay that you sculpt your body with. So if we think about our body as the vehicle that we play this game in, it's the way we are interfacing with the game. It is the way we are absorbing and sharing information and energy. So our body was sculpted to help us do just that. So if you think about the physical body frame that you are in, right? You might be in a larger body frame. You might be in a very grounded, robust, healthy body frame. This might be to help you process a lot of energy. It might also help you be more grounded. For example, I'm in a larger body, no surprise. And this is something that really helps me ground energy and run a lot more energy, and also provides me a lot more stability as I go through life. But you might find somebody that's in a more delicate body type. But this body type is going to be more able to be in tune and connection with higher energetic frequencies. And of course, there's also the layer of society, right? Our bodies shape how the world receives us. So depending on the society you're in, if you're in a society that celebrates slender people or a society that celebrates larger people, this is going to be a way for you to have doors open to you and for things to be a little bit easier if you're choosing a body or physical appearance that is more accepted by the social norms of the day. So perhaps your quest or your purpose, it necessitated you to kind of facilitate things being a little bit easier on you. And so that is what you selected. Now, on the other side of it, what happens when you pick a body or an appearance that the society that you're in does not like? This was an intentional character design as well. This may have been because you wanted to develop other attributes that you would not necessarily have developed if things were just easier. Being in a body that isn't celebrated automatically, people find other ways to get celebrated. So they might ramp up their humor in order to get that attention and that welcoming and that love from other folks. Or additionally, let's talk about being in a larger body, as so many of us are, because that is something against what our society is telling is okay or what the ideal person should look like. This might push you to learn more about health, learn more about physical fitness, learn about how to take care of the body and really understanding how the body works. Personally, I know tons about health because of the challenges that my body has provided me with. It has pushed me to learn, how does this body work so that I can work with it to get it in a direction that I want it to go in. Now, what if you have other physically unique characteristics? Perhaps you were born with missing limbs or something else that was a little outside of what the typical human body looks like. Well, this again could be that you're wanting to develop specific attributes or ways of being in the world because you have this differentness about you. Perhaps this was about developing will or strength to get through particular physical challenges that you are encountering. There are a variety of different ways, of course, that this can look, just like we come in all variety of different packages. This can also be about healing past life wounds. One thing to note as we're talking about the physical body, we get so focused on ourselves being a physical being, which of course we are, but we are also an energetic being. We have auric layers. Now, one of those auric layers creates the structure, the framework for the body to grow within. It's kind of like a mold, is the way that I like to see it, or a structure that the physical flesh grows upon. The aura can come with us from life to life. So if there was damage that happened in a previous life to your body, you might still have the imprints of that in your physical body today. This is also a way that we could figure out what a past life death may have been. If you have moles or scars or particular deformities, this may be because you were shot or stabbed or something in a previous life, and your body is still displaying that wound because it hadn't been fully healed and cleared before you died and before you came into this form. I think it's also interesting, our physical facial appearance comes with us as well from life to life. So if you were able to dig up and figure out who you were in a previous life, you might be surprised you have similar physical characteristics as you had in a previous life. Apparently we like to keep our faces, or as much so as we can. So in all of this, as you look at your body that you're inhabiting, ask yourself, when you look at whatever parts of your body that really stand out to you, whether that's in a negative or a positive way. So the first question is, how has this helped me? What have I been able to do or accomplish or experience because of this physical attribute? And then the second question is, how has this hurt me? How has this made my life harder? How has this challenged me? And how then did I grow because of it? These are the clues that help you figure out why your character was designed the way it was. So that is the physical construction of the body, but there are other aspects to the body as well, which are health sensitivities or proclivities. You are also selecting a body that has a chance of having particular things happen to it. You might have a higher risk of depression. You might have a higher risk of cancer, etc. These then are setting up potential pathways for gameplay later on in your life. So if challenges come up in specific arenas that you think it might manifest as a physical experience. But there are also propensities that you have with you from the beginning of your life that are certain that you know are going to be a part of your life experience. These are helping you to develop qualities, traits, behaviors, and way of being, helping you evolve through the experience of this health condition. Does your health condition cause you to learn how to be in a place of acceptance and surrender because you're experiencing so much pain, for example? And so you have to learn how to just accept and surrender because there's nothing else you can do. Perhaps this helps you develop empathy for others and compassion. Or it can also be a karmic balancing as well. Again, this is not to put blame on anybody for having any particular characteristics or physical conditions, but rather to honor the fact that you are being brave and making this choice because you wanted to learn and grow and evolve and be more balanced as a human being. And since I can't go through every single physical condition in one video, though if there's anything you would like me to dig into and do a truth about video, you just let me know down below and I can do a deep dive into why your soul may have picked this particular condition. But in the meantime, I'm going to recommend, not sponsored, Louise Hay's Heal Your Body. It's an app. I think there's also a book. I have the app. I love it. You can just pull it up and flip through all these various different conditions to understand what might be underneath them, and also gives you a lovely affirmation to help you move forward with it. So for example, if you look up acne, it is going to talk about issues with self-love and self-acceptance. So look that one up. It's fun and might help you understand what the opportunity is within that physical experience that you're having. So that is the physical body, what I like to think about as our hardware. Now we're going to get into the software. And this, I think, is where things get really interesting because it's giving us clues as to the direction where we're going as humanity. It takes a long time for the physical body to evolve, but apparently not as long for our software to evolve. So we are getting some glimpses as to where we're going with some of the mental experiences that we're seeing pop up in the human experience. So let's talk about your neurotype. This determines how you process information, make connections, engage with others, etc. This is what I like to think of as your operating system. I think this is a fascinating time right now because we're in the evolution of how we think. Think about how humans have operated for the millions of years that we've had human civilization and have written things on papyrus, etc. And now we're in an era of computers and AI. The way we engage with information is evolving and our brains are evolving with it. This gives rise to all of these different neurotypes. Now, currently we talk about neurotypical and neurodivergent as if one is the healthy, desired way and the other one is somehow deficient. I believe and fully hope that at some point we come up with new labels because I think these are just different ways of engaging with information. None is good or bad, they just have different ways of engaging with energy or people or information. So, for example, let's look at ADHD. Already we know in that title we see it as a deviation from the norm because it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And I know if you have this situation, I am sure it is very challenging, which is part of the reason why you probably selected as part of your character trait because you wanted to have that resistance difference from whatever the norm is, and this causes you to develop, perhaps in a very painful and challenging way. I don't want to make light of that, but it causes you to develop new ways of being or acting or understanding yourself or having compassion for yourself, etc. It's pushing you to grow in a variety of ways. But also it has its own gifts and traits. An ADHD brain, it's able to process information in a lot of different directions. And it's built for high novelty environments. We have a lot of information coming at us now. And so these ADHD brains are being wired to help with all of this bombarding information, to process this information more quickly. Now, I don't have ADHD myself, so if you do, I would love if you would share with us what you think the skills, the traits, the gifts, the operating system of the ADHD brain is, and what it is best used for when it is used in a positive way. Or let's look at dyslexia. This is one that has been around and has been so frequently labeled as wrong. People with dyslexia being sent to different classrooms because they don't read or comprehend information in the same way the other students do. So again, another challenge to grow and evolve the soul through, but also another type of an operating system. This is about strong spatial abilities, creative and big picture thinking. Dyslexic folks are able to see the world in a different way than these very linear text-based mental processing systems do. Again, if you're somebody that has dyslexia, and I am curious how this has pushed you to grow and what you think the gifts are that the dyslexic brain brings to the world. Now, of course, we can't talk about neurodivergence without talking about autism. We have more and more and more folks being born with autism, wherever it may be on the spectrum. I did a whole video all about the truth about autism, which I will link down below so that you can get all the nitty and gritty. There's so much in it. I can't add that into this video as well, but I will say autistic folks are bringing in a new future for us. They are bringing in new ways of thinking, new ways of interacting with each other, and they're also bringing in more telepathic abilities. But it is not only the autistic folks that are helping us get ready for telepathy. I think it is also those of us who deal with mental health challenges like anxiety, like depression, like OCD, etc. These things, which are not fun to deal with, are helping us strengthen our brain. So as we're planning out our character, we are planning this out on a few different levels. One is to prepare our soul to get used to working with the mind, to strengthen our relationship with the mind so that we are more able to enter this telepathic future, but also it provides us opportunities, of course, in this life as well. I think mental health is something that is such a wonderful way to help our souls evolve and to help us awaken. Anxiety. Let's talk about anxiety. Anxiety is awful. It is no fun if you've dealt with anxiety, but it will push you because of its challenge and its difficultness. It pushes you to the edge where you have to learn and grow and evolve in different ways. You might be pushed to be in a state of the present moment through your experience with anxiety. Perhaps it does allow you the opportunity to build trust, learning how to trust that everything is okay, learning how to trust yourself and that you'll get through different challenging moments. Because this intense pressure is so hard, you're trying to find something that's going to make you feel a little bit better. And these things that make you feel a little bit better are the things that are more in alignment with your higher self and your soul, like acceptance, like trust, like loving of the self. Because we are such a mind-focused animal here on Earth, having challenges in the mental sphere is a Wonderful way for us to grow and evolve. Depression is another example, and that's something that I have a long history with and know it quite well. Depression is something that I will speak from my experience. You can share if this is also your experience. I have a brain that has a tendency towards negative thinking. This is something I selected as part of my character build, and I think was part of my genetic opportunity in my family line. And so for me, when I start to see the negative cycle starting, it gives me a chance to build those muscles to handle negative thinking, because the mind is a wild, wild world, as we all know. So all of these brain-based challenges or opportunities, our software coding, if you will, for our character is providing us several opportunities. This is a really twofold opportunity here when we look at how we're setting up the character's brain. Okay, so now that we've talked about the hardware of the physical body and the software of the mind, let's talk about the program that is being run on these, which is your personality. This is critical for how you play the game. This is the interface that your soul built for your character to engage with other characters and the world at large. And this also is really sculpting how you carry out your quest and your mission. Think about it. An extrovert and an introvert, let's say they both choose the purpose of being a teacher. Well, how an extrovert is going to be a teacher and how an introvert is going to be a teacher is going to look different, obviously. An extrovert might be up in front of a large classroom, talking a lot about a lot of different subjects. Whereas the way an introvert might teach is to do more one-on-one, small groups, going really deep, maybe through writing, etc. Both are very valuable, but they have different ways of being experienced in the world. I am going to walk us through the Myers-Briggs typology indicator because it's my favorite and it's the thing that I know like the back of my hand. I really feel that it helps us understand ourselves and each other. So we're gonna do a high-level overview of the MBTI and see if we can help you figure out what your personality type is. There are 4 letters in the MBTI. The first one is the easy one. This is extroversion versus introversion. You probably already know this. This is about how we process energy. Extroverts process energy by gathering it from other people, whereas introverts are best suited to be by themselves. That's how they restore and replenish their energy. Now, let's look at this specifically from why your soul chose this as part of your character design. Extroversion versus introversion. Did your soul need you to have a life where you were engaging with a wide variety of people? Versus, did your soul plan a life that it really wanted you to go within and plumb the depths of your own nature? The next on the list is sensing versus intuitive. This is all about how you process information. Sensing folks, S folks, are all about the here and now. They are based in reality. If you give them this weird picture and tell them to describe it, they're going to tell you exactly what they see. A red arrow pointing to the left, a tree. They're all about what we experience with our 5 senses. On the other side is the intuitives, the N's. These are all about seeing things beyond the 5 senses. They're all about imagination and metaphor and looking at the big picture instead of the details. So in that example where we show them a really weird picture, the intuitive isn't going to describe what they see when they look at it as far as the objects in the image. They're going to tell you the story behind it. They're going to tell you the meaning. They're interpreting or intuiting the information that they're being given. So why might your soul have picked this way of processing information? Well, Did you have a life where you really needed to deal with the here and now, things that are tangible? You were wanting to deal with the real physical world? Or did your soul say, I want you to live in the world of ideas. I want you to work with what is hidden, what is possible. I want you to see the frameworks underneath what you sense with your physical experience. So if you haven't figured out, I am an intuitive. I am an extrovert. I like talking to a lot of people. I like to take the information that is presented and be able to see the larger picture behind it, which is why I like doing these videos. So I think it's worth it to look at how you process information and how that shifts the way that you do what you do in your life. And then that takes us to the third letter of our MBTI type, and that is feelers versus thinkers, or F versus T. This is all about how you make decisions. Now, the feelers are going to be making their decisions based off of feelings, whether that is their feelings or the feelings of other people. And that also includes value systems as well, their belief systems, etc. Whereas thinkers are making their decision based off of logic and facts. It isn't so much about other people unless it's logical to have it be about other people. So looking at why your soul may have selected you to be a feeler versus a thinker is going to tell you a bit about what your soul wanted to get up to. Did your soul want you to have a very relation-based, focused life experience, where also maybe you needed to learn about how to manage emotions and how to be a little bit more in your higher self-conscious, dispassionate place where you're not getting so thrown into the emotional turmoil and learning how to get stronger because of it? Or did your soul want you to experience a life where you needed to make maybe hard calls and difficult decisions without having to be swayed by the human nature side of things? And additionally, maybe your soul wanted you to learn and understand more about the emotional experience by being able to look at it rather than live within it. Which then takes us to the final letter of our MBTI type, and that is judging versus perceptive, which is J versus P. This is all about how you engage with the world. So a judger likes to put themselves onto the world. They like to control it. They like to order it and organize it. A person who is a J is going to have a very structured planner. They're going to have alphabetized books. They're going to be very organized. They're going to have plans. They're going to have systems and structures. Whereas a P is going to be a lot more go with the flow. They're letting the world come into them. So they don't like to make decisions until they have as much information as they can possibly gather. They want to be open to the experience of life as life brings it to them. So why would this be a part of your character components? Well, if you were a J, perhaps you were wanting to build something that was going to outlast you. Maybe you're wanting to create structure, make sure that you finish what you start. But also maybe you're wanting to learn about how to not be so controlling, learn how to be in a place of more accepting and present moment and letting things come into you through the challenges that you'll experience in your life. And on the other side, if you are a P, a perceptive person, perhaps your soul is wanting you to have a life of exploration, of experience, where you tried out a lot of different things and didn't close yourself off to the world. Really about wanting to find the connections of things instead of driving towards a destination. But there are going to be other things through the challenging side of this that you're going to develop as your life goes on, maybe learning how you do your own version of discipline or focus or making decisions, etc. Everything has a positive aspect to it and a challenge that it presents as well. Now, that was a very high-level, brief overview of the Myers-Briggs. There is a free test at 16personalities.com that you can take and learn more about your specific type. I'm an ENFJ, by the way. When you put them all together, it creates a full type because those letters interact with each other. Somebody who's an NF is going to be very different than somebody who's an SF. Understanding your personality gives you a chance to understand what your purpose is here in life, what it is you are wanting to do and accomplish, and it also helps you learn how you can more effectively engage and understand and have compassion for people that interact with the world differently than you do. So these are all pieces that are carefully collected and curated as part of your character, but there are also pieces that you are bringing with you from past lives. So as we're looking at creating our character, we've looked at the character's body, we've looked at the character's mind, and we've looked at the character's personality. But we also have things we are bringing with us from previous lives. The first, I like to kind of think about what we've got in our little knapsack that we're bringing with us, and that is our talents and our gifts and our abilities. Yes, of course, we develop them within this life, but we are bringing with us things that we have already developed and experienced and created as a high-level skill in a previous life. Think about Mozart. Think about Billie Eilish. These are musicians, performers that started wonderfully advanced at a young age. This is because this was not their first life hanging out around music. They had already developed this skill set and they put that in their knapsack so that as they started this life, they could really hit the ground running and make the most of what it was that they were wanting to accomplish in this round. So I want you to think back to your childhood and the things that came to you naturally and easy without having to be taught, the things you just naturally gravitated towards, or even now as an adult, these things that you don't have to put any time into, but they just happen without much effort at all. Whatever those things are, they're either skills that you're wanting to use in your purpose, or the ways that you think in order to do those things is a way of thinking that is going to help you do what you want to do. So what are your pre-selected skills, gifts, and abilities? What's in your knapsack? And there is one other aspect of your character build that comes with you from life after life, and that is your soul archetype. There is a persona that you carry with you to accomplish your mission as a soul. So perhaps you are a sage, perhaps you are an advocate, perhaps you are a performer. I have a whole video that will help you understand what it is that you are accomplishing on a soul level in this reincarnation game. By understanding your three main soul archetypes, you can better understand what it is you are here to do, how it is that you are here to do it, and why you do it. So check that video out. So now you've built out your individual character. But of course, you didn't come into the world fully formed, you came in as a little baby. When you arrived into the physical world as a little baby, you had your character set up, but you were not yet fully formed. It was time to go through the Academy of Childhood. This is where your character got sculpted and your life got set up. I call it the setup. This is where your family and your childhood triggered certain wounds that you needed to learn how to heal as your life went on. It activated different traits and skill sets, and it set the conditions for the quest that you are about to embark on. All right, it's time to choose your next adventure. If you are ready to move on to the next step, you can watch the video about how you set up your childhood and family and what all of that meant for the quest that you're on. I'm currently developing it, so if it's ready, it will be right here for you to journey. And if not, it'll be something that YouTube thinks that you would like to learn about next. But if you're new here and you are ready for the big picture overview and to go back to the beginning of this journey of reincarnation as a game, you can go to the first episode here. Whatever path you choose, I'll see you in the next adventure.